Now what's interesting is that in the discussion, Lancaster doesn't really have to convince John. He just has to convince his followers that he's in the right and that John is merely challenging the cause because he's afraid and unwilling to participate in open discussion. You see, you don't have to actually argue on the basis of your ideas if you frame things in the right way.
Well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Lancaster frames John as being frightened.
Is there something frightening to you about the cause's travels into the past?
Or scared of the approach that the cause takes to try and weaken his position.
What scares you so much about traveling into the past, sir?
More importantly, he deflects his own resistance to an open discussion onto John. Lancaster becomes defensive when his statements aren't blindly accepted, and he becomes increasingly irritated and finally explodes. And yet his conclusion is that it's John who's being unreasonable and unwilling to participate in an open discussion. He also rephrases John's mention of the discussion as a grilling.
No, this isn't a discussion, it's a grilling.
By the way, if you think this is an outrageous reaction, it's tame compared to what it says in the script. In the script, it goes completely off the rails, and I think this version that ended up in the edit is actually way better. Lancaster's followers, who might not actually be paying attention to the logic of the argument they're having, can instead focus on Lancaster's vague but inspirational statements of the lofty goals of the cause,
capturing the mind's fatal flaws and correcting it back to its inherent state of perfect.
And they can also perceive how he frames John to make him seem weaker. Lancaster makes it seem like he wants to save the world, and this man is simply trying to shoot that down because he's afraid of how they want to achieve this.